All right, let's talk about C#. You know, every new version promises to make our lives as developers a little bit easier, but C#13, this one feels different. It feels like it's on a mission, a real quest to cut out all the noise and junk from our code. So today we're going to break down the key features that are seriously going to change how you write C#.
I mean, isn't this the dream? It's the question we ask ourselves all the time. How do we do more with less? Less boilerplate, less head-scratching complexity, and definitely less performance bottlenecks. Well, C#13 is basically Microsoft's big answer to that question.
And it really all boils down to these three things: productivity, performance, and simplicity. Every single new feature we're about to look at is built on one of these pillars. Think of it like this. They want us to ship code faster, make sure that code absolutely flies, and let us do it all with way less clutter.
So first, let's just quickly set the stage. This isn't just some minor incremental update. No, this is a pretty significant evolution in how we actually write C# code. And you'll be seeing C#13 arrive right alongside .NET 9. We're already getting to play with it in the previews, and we're looking at the big general release around November 2025. So yeah, it's positioning itself as the next major step for the entire .NET world.
Okay, let's dive into that first promise, simplicity. One of the biggest goals with C#13 is to just get rid of all that ceremony. You know, the lines of code you have to type over and over again, so you can actually focus on the logic that really matters.
Oh man, this code right here. We have all written this 1,000 times. A simple class, a private field, a constructor whose only job is to assign a value. Yeah, it's necessary, but it's just pure boilerplate that clutters everything up. You just have to think, there's got to be a better way, right?
Well, there is. The solution is here. C#13 takes this awesome feature that records had, primary constructors, and brings it to all classes and structs. This means you can just define your constructor parameters right there in the class declaration itself. All that ceremony? Gone.
And look at the result. It is just so clean. What used to be, 5 lines of code? The private field, the parameter, the assignment, it's now just a single, super clear line. The intent is obvious, and all that boilerplate has just vanished. This is such a massive win for readability.
And this simplification doesn't stop at constructors. It extends to properties too. You know how, before, if you needed some custom logic in a property, you had to manually create a private backing field? Well now, C#13 gives us this handy field keyword. It gives you direct access to that backing field right where you need it, which, again, just cuts down on all that extra code.
Okay, next up, let's talk about performance. C# has always been fast, we know that. But version 13 is introducing some really clever new ways to make our applications even more efficient.
And a fantastic example is the params keyword. For years, this thing was stuck with only arrays, which had this sneaky little side effect, a hidden memory allocation every single time you used it. But now, it's been totally supercharged. It works with high-performance types like read-only span, which is just a way to look at a chunk of memory without allocating more, and other collections. This gives you way more flexibility, and it's much, much kinder to the garbage collector. It's a huge win for any performance-critical code.
But wait a second. What if we could take this a step further? What if we could apply some really powerful optimizations, not at runtime, but at the exact moment the code is compiled?
This is where a really powerful experimental feature called interceptors comes into play. Think of it like a compile-time magic trick. You write a standard normal method call, but then an interceptor secretly tells the compiler to swap it with a completely different, way more optimized piece of code before your program is even built. Now, you might not be using this in your everyday app code, but for people writing frameworks and libraries, this is an absolute game changer for squeezing out every last drop of performance.
And finally, let's look at a few features that just make everyday coding in C# a much more pleasant, more powerful experience. You know, these are the quality of life upgrades that you're going to appreciate day in and day out. Lambda expressions are getting a serious upgrade. The compiler is so much smarter now about figuring out types, which means you don't have to be as explicit. Plus, you can now add attributes to them or even specify default parameter values, just like you would in a regular method. This makes them way more flexible, especially when you're doing stuff like configuring APIs in ASP.NET Core.
So when you put it all side by side like this, a really clear pattern starts to emerge, doesn't it? Verbose constructors become these clean single-line declarations. The params keyword is no longer just for arrays. Manual backing fields are replaced with a simple keyword. In every single case, the trend is exactly the same. Less code, more power. Okay, so we've seen all these cool new features, but what's the big picture here? What does this actually mean for you and the projects you're working on every day?
Well, it all comes right back to those 3 core goals we started with. C# 13 is a really focused release, and it's aimed squarely at improving your day-to-day life as a developer. Whether it's writing cleaner code faster, optimizing for performance, or simplifying complex logic, every feature is designed to help you build better apps with less friction. So, here are your key takeaways for C# 13. You are going to write less boilerplate code, period. You're going to have new tools to achieve higher performance, and you're going to be able to simplify your application logic. It's all about solidifying C#'s place as a modern, powerful language that's ready for any project you can throw at it, from a small startup to a massive enterprise application.
And honestly, that's the most exciting part. This isn't just about some new syntax, it's about new possibilities. It really opens up the question, with a language that is simpler, cleaner, and faster, what are you going to build next?